who happen to be joining us online this afternoon. This meeting has been held remotely and also in person, and it will be filmed and recorded for live and subsequent broadcast available through the Council's website. The Council is a data controller under the General Data Protection Regulations and the Data Protection Act of 2018. We broadcast and record Council meetings to fulfil our public task obligation to enable members of the public to observe the democratic process. Data collected during the process will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policies available through the Council's website. Members of the Council are reminded that they should follow the Council's established meeting protocols, including around the use of the chat facility, and that comments made in the chat facility are visible to all participants in the meeting, which may include members of the public who have also received invites to the meeting. Do we have any apologies or declarations of interest for this afternoon?
Provost, we have an apology for absence from Councillor Crowther. We'll now move to an attendance roll call before proceeding to declarations of interest. And the following members please indicate if they're present at the meeting, either in person or remotely. Councillor Armstrong.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Brennan.
Present in person.
Councillor Brooks.
In chamber.
Councillor Cassidy.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Clofty.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Curley.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Daisley.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Hellier.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Jackson.
In chamber.
Councillor Law.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor McCabe.
Present in chamber.
Councillor McCormick.
Present remotely.
Councillor Maguire.
Present.
Provost Mackenzie.
In the chamber.
Councillor McVeigh.
In chamber.
Councillor Moran.
In the chamber.
Councillor Nelson.
In chamber.
Councillor Quinn.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Reynolds.
Present remotely.
Councillor Robertson.
Present remotely.
Councillor Wilson.
Present in the chamber.
Are there any declarations of interest?
Thank you, members. We'll now go to the minutes that have been issued. The meeting of the local review body held on the 4th of December 2024, pages 330 to 335. Councillor McVeigh. Thank you, Councillor McVeigh. Is there anything otherwise minded? The meeting of Inverclyde Council on the 5th of December 24, 336 to 347. Mrs. Brown.
Thank you, Provost. I'd like to draw members' attention to a discrepancy in these minutes. So on page number 341, under the heading Policy and Resources Executive Subcommittee, you'll see that there are limbs 8E, limb E and limb D, setting out that Councillor Maguire and Councillor Moran would be appointed as the convener and vice convener. But further down that paragraph, the convener and vice convener are listed to Councillor McCabe and Councillor Maguire. So the proposal would be to amend those to Councillor Maguire as the convener and Councillor Moran as the vice convener.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. With that change, I would move that's a true and proper minute. Is there anything otherwise minded? Thank you. The Audit Committee held on the 7th of January 25, pages 1 and 2. Councillor Curley.
I move this is a true record, Provost.
Thank you, Councillor Curley. The Social Work and Social Care Scrutiny Panel, 14th of January, pages 3 and 5. Councillor Bennett.
Provost, I move it as a true record at the minute.
Thank you, Councillor Brennan. The Environment and Regeneration Committee, the 16th of January, pages 6 to 9. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Provost, I move this is a true record.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. The Education and Communities Committee, the 21st of January, pages 10 to 16. Councillor Fogarty, please.
I move this as a true record, Provost.
Thank you, Councillor Fogarty. And the Special Meeting of Inverclyde Council on the 23rd of January, pages 17 to 21. And I would move that that's a true and proper minute. Is there any otherwise minded? Thank you. The Petitions Committee held on the 30th of January, 22 to 23. Councillor Curley.
I move this is a true record, Provost.
Thank you, Councillor Curley. And the Policy and Resources Committee on the 4th of February, 24 to 27. Councillor Maguire, please. Councillor Maguire, do you hear us?
Sorry, I've just reconnected now. Yes, I move this as a true and accurate minute.
Thank you, Councillor Maguire. The Planning Board held on the 5th of February 25, pages 28 to 31. Councillor McVeigh.
That's a true record, Provost.
Thank you. And the review body on the 5th of February, page 32. Councillor McVeigh.
I move that's a true record, Provost.
Thank you. Is there any otherwise minded? And the local police and fire scrutiny panel held on the 6th of February, 33 to 35. Councillor Wilson.
I move this as a true record, Provost.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. And the General Purposes Board on the 12th of February, pages 36 and 37. Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, I move this a true record, Provost.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. And the special meeting of Inverclyde Council held on the 13th of February, pages 38 and 39. I will move that that's a true and proper minute. Is there anybody otherwise, Mike? Thank you. Moving to item 3 in the agenda, that has been withdrawn, as you will have been informed. Item 4 on the agenda, the implementation of SLRC's report recommendations, which you'll find on page 7 of your agenda. Mrs. Brown, please.
Thank you, Provost. This report sets out the outcome of the report by the Scottish Local Authorities Remuneration Committee, also known as SLAC. It's in respect of the remuneration of elected members and advises members that legislation has been forthcoming to introduce some of the recommendations with effect from the 1st of April 2025. Notable for Inverclyde Council is the abolition of the previous Band A in respect of council remuneration, so that Inverclyde will now become a Band B council. One of the impacts of this is that the council can now allocate up to 10 senior councillors, whereas previously the allocation was only up to 9. The relevant remuneration levels for this band are set out within the report. Members should note that in respect of the remuneration of the council's leader, and for elected members who don't have additional responsibilities such that they are considered to be senior councillors, the remuneration is set by statute and no discretion is afforded. In respect of the remuneration of the provost, discretion is afforded, but the council's previous decision at its statutory meeting in May in 2022 was to pay the maximum amount, and it's recommended that the council continues this position. In respect of senior councillors who have been deemed as such by the council, the legislation provides that a maximum pot from which such senior councillors is calculated and a maximum to be paid per senior councillor is set. However, discretion is afforded for each council to decide how many senior councillors it appoints and their salaries, provided that both of those numbers are within the maximums provided. The relevant figures are all set out in the report. It's recommended that the council notes the SLAC report and its recommendations and the implementing legislation, as well as the salaries to be paid to the leader and councillors who are not deemed to be senior councillors. It's also recommended that the council confirms the decision to pay the maximum set by legislation to the provost as the council's specific head. It's further recommended that members consider the options presented in respect of senior councillors at paragraph 3.14 of the report and decide which option to follow. Happy to take any questions.
Members, are there any questions for Mrs. Brown? Councillor Brown?
Thanks very much for that report, and thanks for bringing me in there, Provost. So it's just to say, we've obviously been given quite a difficult hand here by Scottish Government, where we're ending up looking at voting ourselves for an increase in councillor salary, and we've got to make that decision ourselves, which can cause sometimes a bit of potential embarrassment. But I think I just wanted to make the point that this could be seen as one of a suite of measures that goes some way towards making our councils eventually more diverse, and that's why I think we really have to look at supporting it, because some more money for councillors might mean that a few more people, or even hopefully a lot more people, could consider standing for council, which I think is definitely something that we want. So I think, you know, my cooperative party has got a diversity in councils declaration, organisations like Electa, for which we'll have an event later, I think in April, with its Ask Her to Stand programmes are all part of that, because I think in councils up and down the country, you could sometimes be forgiven for thinking walked accidentally into an older men's club. And that's really not good enough. There's nothing at all wrong with men over 60. For example, my dad sat in that chair not too long ago, and he's still a huge source of political and ethical leadership and support to me. So absolutely we want to see older men here, but we want to see older women, we want to see younger people as well, we want to see people who've got all sorts of protected characteristics in here. And I think if you're seeing this and you're thinking, I'm not too happy about councillors getting a pay increase, then I would say don't just go online to complain, don't make public posts, go online to download a membership form, for example, for the Labour Party, or even speak to one of us councillors, because there's lots of great people out in our community who would make excellent councillors, but the financial implications in the past might have meant that it was just much more attractive to retired men, for example. So being an elected representative is a huge privilege. With this report, you feel even more the weight of responsibility that I think we should all feel as councillors when we're elected, to do the absolute best that we can, to be the best we can be. So hold us to account, expect very high standards from the people who are lucky enough to serve. And thank you for all this, that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Councillor Brennan. Are there any other questions for Mr Brown? Councillor Cullen?
Not questions, but I just obviously just like take a statement. It is difficult when we're put in a position that we have to vote ourselves at a pay increase. I think the Scottish Parliament's got it the right way around it. It's done as a proportion of salaries, but there has been a bit of disconnect. And I completely agree with Councillor Brennan's comments with respect to inclusion and diversity in this chamber. As a man who's under 60, I do recognise that we look through here as a cross-section community. So I think with this measure, I think we should be looking forward to the next council election, and this gives people the opportunity to say, can I stand next time? Is it going to cost me financially to be able to do it? And it's particularly for people who are younger, got families, got other responsibilities, and it's not just more older sections of the community. So I welcome the comments, Councillor Brennan. I think it is important. But yes, I can imagine there is going to be a bit of a response from the public with respect to that. But I think my view is it's looking forward. It's not for me, but it's for people who will be coming forward. We want to get a more inclusive and diverse council in Inverclyde, and this hopefully will be a measure to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cullen. Therefore, I would ask the leader of the council to propose the recommendations or otherwise.
Thank you, Provost. I agree with the recommendation. I like the report. However, I amend recommendation 3 to 4 to create 10 senior councillors, making the convener of the Poverty Association a senior councillor. Provost.
Thank you, Councillor Moran. You've heard Councillor Moran's motion there to increase the number of senior councillors to 10 and decide to pay those senior councillors the maximum salary of 31,765, being option 4 of item number 3.14. Can I have a seconder for that motion?
Yes, Provost, I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Maguire. Is there anybody otherwise minded? Thank you. Then we can agree the recommendations. Thank you. Item 5 on the agenda on page 15. It's the management structure, phase 3, and I will go to the Chief Executive.
Good afternoon, elected members. Thank you, Provost. The report, as elected members know, I am leaving to join NHS Land on the 5th of May. Given that I am leaving, I don't think it's appropriate for me to do phase 3 in the management review, and I am asking elected members to pause that. The report outlines that in 2018, a significant amount of money was taken out of the management structure. When COVID happened, and a lot of money was put back into the management structure on a temporary basis, and then when I came into post, I said I would do a management review in 3 phases. The first phase was to return to have 2 directors, and the Chief Finance Officer and the Head of Legal, Democratic and Customer Service reporting directly to himself as the Chief Executive. The second phase looked at the review of shared services, and we looked at the shared services with Western Berkshire, and we dissolved the arrangement we had in relation to roads, fleet and waste. And the third phase was to look at any savings that elected members had taken from the 25-26 budget and from frontline, and maybe do a review of middle management. As members know, very few savings were taken, although we did develop a management work stream and we've done a saving of 135,000. And we also said that the phase 3 would be as when we knew the outcome of the National Care Service. And as members will know, the National Care Service bill will not go forward as it's previously been described. So there'll be no movement of staff, and so therefore it does not need to be considered as part of a phase 3 management review. As members know, in January 2023, you set aside 255,000 from the Treasurer's allowance. That was to increase senior officer capacity. That was an acknowledgement that more support was required for elected members and for transformation. And while the paper looks to pause the management review, it does outline the benefits of us rejoining the digital office. The digital office gives us an opportunity to learn from other councils. As members will know, I've been leading the Digital Modernisation Programme Board, and I think that there's more we need to do to understand your digital maturity, and they would be able to help and support us in relation to that. And that has a recurring cost of 32,484. And members are asked to agree the recommendations set out in 2.1, and I'm happy to take any questions for us.
Thank you, Chief Executive. Are there any questions for the Chief Executive? Can we agree the recommendations on page 16? Thank you. We'll then go to item agenda number 6, which is the supplementary pages that you have. The scheme of administration, appointments and political balance. Mrs. Brown, please.
Thank you, Thomas. This report does various things. Firstly, it requests that the appointment is made to the board of Inverclyde Council following resignation of Councillor Curley from the board last year. It also advises members that Councillor Robertson has resigned as leader of the SNP group, and that Councillor Curley has been appointed as the divisional leader and is now consequently leader of the largest non-administration group within the council. Further, the council has been advised that Councillor McCabe's suspension from the Labour Party has been lifted, meaning that Councillor McCabe now sits on the council as a member of the Labour group. This change means that some amendments to the membership of the council's committees, subcommittees, boards and outside bodies are required to ensure political balance. The report also advises members of some other changes requested to the membership of the council's committees, subcommittees, boards and outside bodies, some of which are required as a result of the events mentioned previously, and some required for other reasons. A recommendation is set out in Appendix 6, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Brown. Are there any questions for Mrs. Brown? And now we go to item A on the recommendations. Appoint a new member to the board of Inverclyde Council. Do you have any nominations for that position? Councillor Moran?
Ross, I'd like to nominate Councillor Brennan to take up the position.
Thank you, Councillor Moran. Councillor Maguire?
Yes, I second that nomination.
Thank you, Councillor Maguire. Do we have any other nominations for the position that Inverclyde holds? Thank you. Then I declare that Councillor Brennan goes forward as the new member of the board. Councillor Curley, sorry.
Not to put any nominations, I'll just obviously just to congratulate Francesca on our nomination to the board. It is, I found that I can be a rewarding experience. Obviously, I left because I could not take part in one of the board decisions, but hopefully you'll be able to what they call it, appreciate the opportunity that serving in one of the major partner organisations the council provides us as councillors, and I look forward to hopefully you having a long relationship with Inverclyde Council, as long as I did.
Thank you, Councillor Curley, and thank you, Councillor Brennan, for taking up this appointment. It's a very valuable appointment. You wish to say something?
Yeah, thanks very much, Provost, for that. That's really kind of Councillor Curley, and thanks very much, Provost, for that. Thanks as well. So listen, it's a decision that you think about very carefully. I think, like Councillor Curley says, he wishes me a long and happy relationship with Inverclyde Homes, but I think, to be honest, most of us here do have existing relationships with Inverclyde Homes, and certainly as a Ward 4 councillor, that relationship is already there. Housing's one of the most important things to the people in Inverclyde, and it's one of the things we probably get most often communications about. So I just think it's you've got to use every opportunity you have to use your networks, your levers, your tools to try and influence decisions and make sure you make the best of them. And that's not to say that every decision is going to be one that I agree with, but I just kind of made that decision that you're better, instead of standing outside, you know, wherever Clyde Homes property and getting a photo taken, you're actually better to get in the room and make those, have all those discussions and those decisions in there as much as you possibly can. That's why I made this decision, so that's very generous of you. Thanks.
Thank you, councillor Brendan. Item E on the recommendations, I would move that we agree the adjustments to the memberships of the committees, subcommittees, boards and outside bodies as required as set in Appendix 6. Can I have a seconder for that, please?
Paulus, I'm happy to second that.
Thank you, councillor Moran. Is there anybody otherwise minded? Thank you. And I would ask you to agree the noting on items B, C and D. Note the recommendations. Thank you. Earlier, when we approved the minutes, there was private business within these minutes. Does any member wish to bring up anything relating to the minutes in the private business? There is not. But I would declare the minute this meeting closed. Inverclyde Council. Thank you very much.